Welcome back to the YouTube channel, where we dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the incredible stories that turn everyday pocket change into pieces of history worth fortunes. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most surprising and intriguing coins in American numismatic history, the 1977 D Jefferson 5-cent coin. You've probably seen hundreds, maybe even thousands, of nickels pass through your hands over the years. But what if I told you that there's a version of the 1977 D 5-cent coin that has been associated with a staggering estimated worth of $273 million? It sounds unbelievable, right? But the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, twists, and mysteries, and this story is one that has captured the imagination of collectors and historians alike. To understand how a seemingly ordinary 5-cent coin could become the focus of such immense value, we have to go back to the era in which it was minted. The year 1977 was a time of change and uncertainty in the United States. The country was still recovering from the aftermath of the Vietnam War. The Watergate scandal had shaken the nation's confidence in government, and inflation was taking its toll on the economy. Amid all of this, the U.S. Mint continued its routine operations, producing billions of coins for circulation, including Jefferson nickels. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, had undergone few changes by 1977. The coin featured the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin was a mainstay of American currency. The Denver Mint, indicated by the D Mint mark on the coin, was one of the major facilities responsible for producing these nickels. In 1977, the Denver Mint produced over 300 million Jefferson nickels, a figure that on its own doesn't suggest rarity. But as is often the case in the world of coin collecting, it's not the quantity that matters, it's the quirks, the errors, and the anomalies that make a coin valuable. Among the millions of 1977 D nickels minted, rumors began to swirl about a particular variety or batch that was strikingly different from the rest. These whispers, initially dismissed by experts and collectors, suggested the existence of a small group of coins with unique characteristics, possibly a double die error, an unusual composition, or some form of unauthorized alteration. Over time, stories began to emerge of collectors finding coins that didn't quite match the norm. Some claimed to have found nickels with unusual weight, while others reported finding examples with striking differences in design or strike quality. The stories would remain anecdotal for years, passed along in coin clubs and numismatic forums, until a coin surfaced that would change everything. In the early 2000s, a private collector claimed to have obtained a 1977 D nickel unlike any other. The coin, reportedly purchased at a flea market in a mixed lot of old change, was examined and tested by independent experts. What they found stunned the numismatic community. This particular 1977 D 5-cent coin was composed not of the standard copper-nickel alloy, but of a composition that matched an experimental blend, one that was never officially released for circulation. The metallurgical analysis revealed that the coin had a unique blend of elements, possibly a test strike or pattern coin that somehow made its way into general circulation. Such coins are considered illegal to possess if they were not officially released by the U.S. Mint, but this coin's provenance suggested it had changed hands multiple times without detection. The mystery deepened. Not only was the composition unusual, but the strike itself appeared to have differences in the Monticello design, possibly the result of an alternate die or a test engraving. When this coin was quietly offered for private sale to a high-profile collector, it was accompanied by extensive documentation and authentication. The asking price? An eye-watering $273 million. That figure shocked even the most seasoned collectors and experts. How could a 5-cent coin command such a price? The answer lay in its rarity, its mystery, and its potential historical significance. If this coin was indeed a pattern or prototype that slipped into circulation by accident or subversion, it would represent a one-of-a-kind artifact, something that simply shouldn't exist. The coin never went to public auction. Instead, it changed hands in a discreet, private sale that was never officially confirmed, but whispers in the numismatic world placed the transaction in the hundreds of millions. Some even speculated that the coin was purchased not by a collector, but by a museum or a private institution with a vested interest in preserving rare American artifacts. The legend of the 1977 D 5-cent coin grew. Coin shows, numismatic conventions, and online collectors began to buzz with stories and theories. Could there be more out there? Was it a rogue mint employee who released a few of these coins? Or was it a deliberate act, intended to test the reaction of collectors decades later? As speculation swirled, collectors began scouring their coin jars, bankrolls, and flea markets in hopes of finding another example. While no other confirmed specimen has surfaced to date, numerous lookalikes and counterfeit attempts have emerged, further fueling the mystery. The US Mint has remained tight-lipped about the situation, neither confirming nor denying the authenticity of the $273 million coin. That silence has only added to its allure. Let's step back for a moment and consider the broader implications. Throughout US Mint history, there have been several instances where pattern coins or experimental pieces have found their way into circulation. From the legendary 1913 Liberty Head nickel to the 1943 copper penny, these coins often arise from moments of transition, experimentation, or simple human error. They represent the thin line between routine minting operations and historical anomalies. The 1977 D 5-cent coin, if the stories are true, fits this mold perfectly. It came from an era of economic turmoil and institutional flux, a time when security protocols at the mint may not have been as tight as they are today. It's worth noting that the Denver Mint itself has been the source of several coin-related mysteries over the decades. In the 1970s and 1980s, there were credible reports of employees sneaking out rare error coins or striking coins outside of regular minting protocols. These incidents often led to internal investigations, but many coins were already out in the world, snapped up by savvy collectors who understood their potential value. If the $273 million nickel is a product of that chaotic time, it would explain much of its mystique. But the value of a coin like this isn't just tied to its rarity. It's also about the story, the legend, and the mythology that surrounds it. Collectors don't just buy coins, they buy history, intrigue, and the dream of discovery. The idea that a 5-cent coin could be worth more than some of the world's most valuable paintings or historic relics speaks to the power of the numismatic imagination. It speaks to the belief that somewhere, maybe in your own pocket or coin jar, lies a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. The story of the 1977 D nickel also reflects a broader trend in the coin collecting world. In recent decades, there's been a surge of interest in error coins, varieties, and one-off anomalies. With the rise of online auction platforms and collector communities, more people than ever before are learning how to identify these hidden gems. This democratization of knowledge has led to a kind of modern gold rush, with collectors scouring their change for anything out of the ordinary. And that brings us back to the central mystery. Could there be more 1977 D nickels out there with the same composition or design anomalies? Could someone stumble upon one in an old change drawer, a coin jar from their grandparents, or a thrift store bag of coins? There are documented cases of rare coins being found in the most unexpected places. One collector famously discovered a 6-figure error coin inside a vending machine. Another found a rare variety at a yard sale for a dime. The world is full of these stories, and they're part of what makes numismatics so endlessly fascinating. For every confirmed $273 million coin, there are thousands of hopefuls, people who believe they might be the next lucky discoverer. So what should you look for if you happen to come across a 1977 D 5-cent coin? Start with the basics. Check the weight. The standard Jefferson nickel should weigh 5 grams, but if you find one that deviates significantly, that's a red flag or a green light, depending on how you look at it. Next, inspect the surface carefully under magnification. Look for doubling in the lettering or images, unusual die strikes, or anything that seems out of place. And finally, if you truly believe you found something special, don't clean the coin. Instead, consult with a professional numismatist or a third-party grading service. Authenticating a coin like this requires advanced tools, experience, and historical knowledge. Even if your coin doesn't turn out to be a multi-million-dollar find, it might still have value as an error or variety, and in the world of coin collecting, even minor differences can mean the difference between face value and a small fortune. The story of the 1977 D 5-cent coin continues to captivate collectors, historians, and treasure hunters. Whether the $273 million figure is a myth, an exaggeration, or an actual private sale, the legend has become part of numismatic lore. It serves as a reminder that history isn't just found in textbooks or museums, it's in our pockets, our drawers, and sometimes, in the most ordinary-looking places. Last, we uncover the hidden stories behind the coins in your pocket, the kind of tales that transform ordinary change into extraordinary treasures. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible journey of the 2007 P 5-cent coin, a Jefferson nickel that has stunned collectors and historians with an unbelievable estimated value of $133 million. That's right, a 5-cent coin, minted less than 2 decades ago, somehow turned into one of the most talked about pieces in numismatic history. Sit back, because we're about to go on a ride through a story filled with mystery, rare minting anomalies, hidden errors, and the relentless pursuit of treasure that has come to define the American coin collecting community. To understand how such an unassuming coin reached this kind of valuation, we first have to revisit the year it was minted, 2007. It was a time of rapid change in the United States. The housing market was approaching a crisis, technology was evolving at a staggering pace, and the economy was riding the final waves of a boom that would soon turn into the Great Recession. Amid all this turbulence, the U.S. Mint continued its standard operations, churning out billions of coins for commerce. That included the Jefferson nickel, which had just undergone a series of major design changes during the Westward Journey series that began in 2004 and concluded in 2006. By 2007, the standard Monticello reverse had returned, but the coin still carried the modernized obverse design introduced in 2006, with a more lifelike image of Thomas Jefferson and his handwritten signature engraved beneath. The Philadelphia Mint, responsible for striking coins marked with a P, produced hundreds of millions of these nickels in 2007. By all appearances, this coin was just another part of the countless Jefferson nickels in circulation. But as any seasoned collector knows, it's the small mistakes, anomalies, and oddities that can transform a common coin into a historical artifact. Somewhere within the mountain of 2007 P nickels, a coin emerged that was anything but ordinary. The whispers began in collector circles sometime in the early 2010s. A coin dealer in New England claimed to have encountered a nickel that seemed different, unusual in both weight and visual detail. The initial assumption was that it was simply an error coin, maybe worth a few $100s to the right buyer. But as the coin underwent analysis and third-party grading, what emerged was far more than a simple minting mistake. This particular 2007 P 5-cent coin had characteristics that didn't match any known production run. First, there was the matter of its composition. Testing revealed a subtle but undeniable deviation from the standard cupro-nickel alloy. It wasn't just the usual 75% copper and 25% nickel mixture. There were traces of other metals, ones not used in US coinage. Further inspection revealed that the coin may have been struck on a planchet not intended for Jefferson nickels at all. The diameter was correct, but the weight and metallic profile aligned more closely with foreign coinage produced by the US Mint for other countries. In fact, during this period, the Philadelphia Mint was under contract to strike coins for several nations whose currencies resembled US denominations in size and composition. The theory that began to emerge was that this particular 2007 P nickel had been struck on a planchet meant for another country, an extremely rare and valuable type of mint error known as a wrong planchet error. What made it even more unusual was that the strike was flawless. The details of Jefferson's portrait, the Monticello design, the date, and the mint mark were all crisp and complete. This wasn't a partial strike or a misaligned die. Somehow, a coin struck on the wrong blank had been struck perfectly, without the mint's quality control ever catching it. Add to this the fact that the coin had not only a different composition but also a slight variation in the die alignment, and you have the makings of a truly unique specimen. But that was only part of what would make this coin one of the most legendary finds in recent memory. As the coin made its rounds through the numismatic community, a collector based in California offered to purchase it privately for over $1 million. The seller, intrigued by the buzz the coin was generating, declined. Instead, he had the coin evaluated by multiple grading services, including PCGS and NGC, both of which confirmed that the coin was unlike any other 2007 P nickel they had ever seen. What followed was a bidding war, not at a public auction, but in private, behind closed doors, between several ultra-wealthy collectors and institutions. The figure being discussed kept climbing. First it was $5 million, then 10, then 50. And then, In a deal that remained shrouded in secrecy, the coin reportedly changed hands for a final sale price of $133 million. To put that into perspective, that's more than most people will ever earn in a lifetime. It's more than the GDP of some small countries. It's more than most fine art paintings or rare diamonds. And yet, all of that value was found in a 5-cent coin minted in 2007, a coin that could have easily slipped through the hands of an unknowing cashier or customer. So what made this particular coin so special? Rarity, yes. A compelling backstory, absolutely. But more than anything, it was the perfect storm of numismatic intrigue. An extremely rare minting anomaly. A flawless strike. A mysterious composition. And the kind of legend that coin collectors dream about. Of course, the story didn't end there. News of the sale spread through collector forums like wildfire. Suddenly, everyone was looking at their 2007 P nickels a little more closely. Coin roll hunters, treasure seekers, and casual hobbyists began scouring their collections. Was it possible that more of these error coins had escaped the mint? Could there be a small batch of 2007 P nickels struck on foreign blanks that had made their way into circulation unnoticed? The Philadelphia Mint, as expected, has issued no official comment on the matter. The US Mint rarely confirms the existence of error coins, especially those involving potential breaches in protocol. But insiders have hinted that during the high-output years of the early 2000s, when coin production was at a near-record pace, quality control procedures may have been strained. There are rumors, though unconfirmed, that at least 2 other examples of similar 2007 P nickels exist in private hands, though neither has been submitted for professional grading or public sale. If true, those coins could be worth tens, if not hundreds, of millions themselves. And if even a few more are out there, it could change the landscape of modern numismatics completely. What makes the story of the 2007 P 5-cent coin so fascinating isn't just the money. It's what it represents. A moment frozen in time. A tiny metal artifact that slipped through the cracks and became a symbol of chance, luck, and the ongoing thrill of the hunt. In a world dominated by digital transactions and plastic cards, the idea that a 5-cent coin could carry so much weight, literally and figuratively, is a reminder of the tangible history we hold in our hands every day. This coin has inspired documentaries, books, and even fictional stories. It has reignited interest in modern coinage, proving that you don't need to go back centuries to find something of immense value. The idea that a coin minted in the 21st century could become the centerpiece of a private collection worth over $100 million challenges everything we thought we knew about coin collecting. It's no longer just about ancient coins, colonial issues, or Civil War-era rarities. Sometimes, the next great find is as close as your pocket change. So what should you be looking for if you want to find your own piece of history? Start by examining all your 2007 P nickels. Look at the date, the mint mark, and the weight. If you have a coin scale, compare the weight to the standard 5 grams. If it's off by even a small amount, that's worth a closer look. Use a magnifying glass to check for sharpness in the details and any signs of unusual metal composition, such as a slightly different color or surface texture. Keep in mind, genuine wrong planchet errors are rare, but they happen, and history has shown us time and again that they can happen when you least expect it. Collectors across the country have turned this story into a full-blown movement. There are forums, online groups, and YouTube channels dedicated entirely to the search for more rare 2007 P nickels. And while the original $133 million coin remains in a private collection, it continues to spark curiosity and investigation. No matter how many times we turn over the details of its origin, its story still holds that same magic, that same sense of wonder that fuels collectors all over the world. Maybe that's the real value of this coin, not just the monetary figure, but the way it reignited passion, curiosity, and excitement for the hobby. For some, coin collecting is about history. For others, it's about investment. But for many, it's about stories, the story behind the coin, the people who touched it, and the journey it took from a production line in Philadelphia to a private vault worth more than most people's dreams. The 2007 P 5-cent coin is now one of the crown jewels of modern numismatics. Its journey is still unfolding. And perhaps, just maybe, it's only the beginning. Because if one made it out, Who's to say there aren't more? Keep hunting, keep asking questions, and never underestimate the power of change, literally. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back with more unbelievable stories from the world of coins, where history meets mystery, and where a simple nickel might just make you a millionaire.